what I will talk about, I will continue the discussion about the Roxy rise that Kent start talking about it. You know, if you look at, no, what's going on here? Just a minute, let me close. Somehow something is not working right. Okay, now it's not moving. Can you move to the next slide, please? Okay, now if you look at the herbicides that are available for us here in California, you will find they are limited. We do have 15 active ingredients that can be used on California rice. And if you look at the list, one of them, you cannot use it on water-seeded rice, which is the pendimethalin. And what left here is 14 active ingredients. If you look at those active ingredients, you will find that all of them are very old, except benzobicyclone. We've been using those active ingredients on rice for so many years. We use them on a cropping system that we do not rotate it, and we grow rice after rice. Also, we do not have other means to control weeds in rice except deep water. So using the same herbicide, using it in a cropping system that we do not rotate, and then for many years, we develop a serious problem with herbicide-resistant weeds. And if you look at the next slide, and what you see in this next slide, you see weed species. This is coming from the herbicide screening we do, herbicide resistance screening we conduct to the growers. The growers send us samples every year. We test them for herbicide resistance, and we send the growers a report on what kind of resistance they have, what it works, what it doesn't work. Then they can do the and they can put the right to program for them for the upcoming season. And this is a compiled data over 5 years. And what you see on the left side of the screen, the weed species: barnyard grass, late water grass, early water grass, springle-top, smaller flower, bulrush, and red stem. Those are the common weeds in our rice field. So what you see here also, the number of samples that we did tested over 5 years, and then also you see the percent of that weed that resist to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 mode of actions. So let's take the late water grass. We did test 106 samples. 5% of these samples were resistant to 1 mode of action, 10% resistant to 2 mode of actions, 12% resistant to 3 mode of actions, 10% resistant to 4 mode of action, and 37% of that species we tested were resistant to 5 mode of actions. So what this tells us, that the people who got this resistant to 5 mode of actions, they do not have any herbicide that they can use it to control this weed in their field. So I think the point I want to make here, that herbicide resistant weeds are serious problem here in California. And we always, in my program, we look at new traits, new herbicides that we can use it to control weeds in general, but also control herbicide resistant weeds. And the next slide, I'm going to go over the Roxy rice. So what we see in Roxy rice is a trait that potentially can be used to control weeds and also control herbicide resistant weeds. And can talk about this trait. It's a tolerant rice. It's not, we don't call it resistant technology, we call it tolerant technology. It's non-GMO, developed through conventional breeding program, and it's going to be launched in collaboration between California, Rise Research Foundation, and Albi Corporation. And as Kent said, the package in EPA and DPR for registration of the oxyfluorofin, and the expectation that 2023 we may have the trade in the market. I don't know how many acres, how much seeds will be available, but the hope is next year is going to be the starting point for us. Now, this Roxy is resistant to a herbicide, what we call it oxyfluorofin. Oxyfluorofin is PPO inhibitors, and we are working with this herbicide. The level of resistance we see in the field for this mode of action is low and still not built up. Also, because this technology is going to be used as a pre-planting, most of the resistant weeds which show resistant to this mode of action are resistant to post-emergence application, not a pre-planting, a pre-emergence. So we see this technology can have benefit to control weeds and also control herbicide-resistant weeds. As I said, the Roxy Rise resistant to oxyfluorofin. So the first question you may have to me, can we use any oxy formulation on this rice? The answer is no. You have to use this formulation, Albi 2023. You cannot use generic oxyfluorofin. You cannot use Goal H2O. All these, you cannot use them on Roxy Rise. The second question, is this rice resistant to all PPO inhibitors? And also the answer is no. It's resistant to oxyfluorofin. If you try to use other PPO inhibitors, you're going to be disappointed. You can have damage on the rice. You can also have poor weed control. Now, this Roxy Rise and oxyfluorofin, we see it as a base treatment. What I mean base treatment, in a good weed control program in rice, you need a base treatment that you start very early in the season. What we have now, we have Serrano, we have Butte, and we have thiobincar as a base treatment. And then growers go after using those herbicides with post-emergence treatment to clean up the field. We see Roxy Rise as a base treatment, which you're gonna use it in the beginning of the season. The way it's gonna work, you're gonna apply oxyfluorofin before planting. You're gonna flood the field. When the field gets full with 4 inches of water, you spread the seeds, and then you go from there. So it is a base treatment. What rate they gonna label? The rate is gonna be 1.5 to 2 pint per acre. Although the label may say 1 to 2, my choice is to go with 2 pint instead of 1.5. Just go to the maximum use rate. You will get good weed control, and also by not shaving the rate, we reduce the possibility of developing herbicide-resistant weeds. So let's start with this high rate. Don't shave the rate, and you go from there. Now, what's about the safety on the crop? I think what we did see over the years, that you do have a slight stunting in the beginning, and I will show you some data. The stunting is probably 1-2 weeks, and then rice will pick up, and you will not see any stunting the rest of the season. So the stunting we did see does not reflect in yield reduction. It's temporary and it goes away. We did a lot of work. One of the study we did, we spray oxy and we flood the field, and then we had rice seeds spread about 7-10 days after flooding, and we did see more stunting. We did see more stunting when the weather is cool. And then that's another time. But in general, rice will pick up and over overrun this problem. What's about weed control? I think you get excellent weed control with the Roxy technology. Uh, control Good control of the grasses. It does not work very well on springle top. If you have low population of springle top, probably you will be okay. But if you have a high population of springle top, it's not going to work very well. It's weak on bull rush, and that's another thing. If it's low population, probably you can get by, but it's generally weak on bull rush. But that doesn't bother me because we have multiple herbicides that can work on bull rush. So from that end, I'm not worried about that, but springle top is a concern for me because we don't have too many products that can control springle top. What's about weedy rice? I have a PhD student, Liberty Garvin, which she is on the call here, and she was doing work with oxyfluorophene on weedy rice. And we could not plant it in the field. The station doesn't allow us to put weedy rice on the field. So we did this study in the greenhouse. What she did, she grew those 5 different biotypes of or accession of weedy rice that Whitney is going to talk about them. And she planted them at different depth and treat them with oxyfluorophene, different rate of oxyfluorophene. And what happened? The weedy rice, all of them, they emerge. They came from the soil, but they never push after that. They stay there short. And what we think that with deep water, with competition from rice, this technology can have some positive effect on controlling weedy rice. Can I have the next slide? Okay, now this is just a minute. I don't know what's going on here, but this. I'm sorry. Can I see the slide? Whitney. Okay, yeah, I think it's working now. Okay, so this is a study that we did to evaluate Roxy rice. This is from last year. We had a study with 10 treatment. Of course, we always put any treated control. Always we put a standard herbicide treatment, and this study was a bute, granite, and grandistan. And then we had several treatment of Albi 2023, that's the oxyfluorophene, and we put them at different rates. Start with 1 pint per acre, and then we went up to 2.25 pint per acres. And then we know the weakness of Albi 2023. So we design multiple treatments to see can we gap these holes in this herbicide and get a good weed control. So we include Albi with the granite, Albi with the granite to grandistan, and etc. So we had several treatments to add some punch beside the oxyfluorophene. Can I have the next slide? Now the one before. Now the injury wise on the rice. This is 14 days after seeding, and you see it's a minor. Only you see stunting, even with the very high rate. You remember a treatment 4 is my high rate, and it's a 10%, less than 10%. It's not significant, and the plants will recover quickly. We did not see bleaching, we did not see chlorosis, we did not see stand reduction. So the injury is mostly stunting, and it goes away by time. Can I have the next slide? Now, weed control wise, as you can see, once you hit the treatment 4, which is the use rate, it's excellent weed control. And like what I said earlier, probably is the best base program we used over the years. So that's encouraging, and it can provide us with a good tool to address weed control, beside also address herbicide-resistant weeds. You look, this is for 24 days after treatment, and if you look at the stunting here, it disappeared when you compare it with the previous slide. Can I have the next one? Now, yield-wise, this is number 9 is my standard herbicide treatment. Number 4 is our high rate of oxyfluorophane, and you can see the yield was higher in oxyfluorophane compared to the standard herbicide treatment. And this is encouraging because this uh, solidify our conclusion that the stunting we did see early, which minor stunting, did not reflect in any yield reduction. Next slide. And this last slide, which you see the photos of my untreated control, and then plot treated with Albite 2023. And you can tell the difference here. You can see the weed control looks excellent and the rise look healthy. And with that, I will stop. If you